So you've mentioned some of the areas that you felt were successful in that time, and I imagine that you're proud of them, including the emergency services, the youngsters, the cadets, I think it was.
Yeah.
So, are there any elements of your time where, with the benefit of hindsight and your wider experience now, you look at the way in which policing is being approached here in the UK, and we're leaving volunteers to one side for the time being.
Yeah.
Areas that you think, well, actually, there's an opportunity for OPCC's offices of the Police and Crime Commissioner or Police and Crime Commissioners, or indeed agencies more widely, to pick up on things that maybe haven't been exploited to their greatest potential yet?
I think there are. I think we're in hugely changing and challenging times. You in a sense, I think the shift in crime, the growth in digital offending, fraud, online vulnerability, the growing appreciation of violence and abuse towards women and girls, the mental health crisis which policing finds itself fundamentally at the heart of, those challenges of having the trust and confidence of younger generations in policing. One of the things which has struck me, being having spent some weeks recently over in the States, is how stark some of those challenges are to the policing in the US. The challenges of community confidence, Black Lives Matter, the sense of defund the police, of wanting to explore alternative avenues of provisions of the first response to mental health incidences and sending an armed officer into the scene, and those sorts of conversations. And actually, I think that OPCCs, but PCCs, the ground on which they stand and can reform is significant in that environment. I think we're no longer looking at a position where policing is primarily something which happens out on the streets. I think there are huge emerging threats in terms of digital domestic abuse, the sense of the need to reform and change policing organisations, but also that recognition that these are problems which are bigger than policing, and you can only resolve community issues by genuinely engaging in a neighbourhood problem-solving kind of way. You can't police at and to people in terms of these challenges of the future. You need to do it. You need to do it with them, and I think OPCCs can play a huge role in that, in developing a much more victim-focused and supportive approach, an approach which genuinely brings partners together, much more of a public health and long-term strategic approach to issues of mental health and vulnerability. And I think that sense of police and crime commissioners as commissioners, looking across that service provision and all the agencies and the contribution to community, and developing that as a whole, has huge potential. And that sense that policing is increasingly just bigger than the police. The sorts of issues that policing organisations face are not ones which are just about deploying police officers to the scene. It's a much, much bigger picture, and I think that pivot to community, that pivot to prevention and problem solving and community engagement, all of those things lift that commissioning and leadership role of the PCC into somewhere. This isn't just about marking the Chief Constable's homework. It isn't just about oversight of a policing organisation. It's about bringing together the solutions for the future, which are going to need to increasingly look very different.
Thank you.